Hello, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to a brief look at candidates for City Council for the 2019 election. Mirtha Becerra is here in the studio. She's a candidate for Ward 2. Welcome, and thanks for taking the time to.
Thank you for inviting me.
I mean, most welcome. So I sent the same questions to all the candidates, so make it fair. And here's your first one. And this one you can modify because you're an incumbent. And here it is. What inspired you initially to seek this office?
Well, I was appointed to City Council by City Council to fill the term that's ending now. So the previous representative for Ward 2 took a position out of state, and that vacated that seat. It wouldn't give time for an election, so the City Council needed to fill that position. And it was really remarkable to see how many neighbors, how many people from Ward 2 applied for that position. We're really fortunate in that regard that so many people want to serve the community. So I was appointed. It's been 2 years, so I am an incumbent, although I've been there for half the time that some of the other incumbents have. What motivates me to seek re-election is the same thing that got me to apply for the position in the first place, and that is that I feel like there's a lot that's happening at the federal, the national level, but I believe that we can change that one community at a time, and I feel that I have the time and the expertise. I'm a land use and transportation planner. I saw an opportunity to use my education, professional experience, and put it to good use in the community.
Excellent. Your second question. Now, so this is your first campaign.
It is.
How did you undertake that? Like, what methods have you used to get the word out?
I was lucky to have a lot of help from current City Council members in terms of how you go about. It's really a comprehensive and somewhat daunting experience, but one that's really worth it. So I have been canvassing, and that's been the most rewarding part of the campaigning part of running for re-election, getting to know a lot of my constituents. As you know, I didn't get a chance to meet them before, so this is my first time introducing myself to them and getting to know what concerns they might have and what they think is working and it's not working, what I should be focusing on as their representative on City Council. So a lot of door knocking, a lot of walking around. I have discovered some really interesting and beautiful parts of Ward 2 that I hadn't seen before. And another aspect of campaigning is, of course, fundraising. Running for office is not cheap, even at the local level. You've got to have signs and whatnot. So that's been the toughest part for me, is asking people for contributions to my campaign. But I find that there are a lot of people who are willing to do that, and that's great.
Interesting. Some other candidates I've interviewed, for the clip, they had mentioned that as well. They didn't realize how expensive it would be, and they wish they had sort of prepared themselves for, both the psychological and the smarts of the fundraising. Because some people don't like to ask for help. I don't.
Yeah, luckily there are some tools out there like online donations, so you can remove that part of in-person asking / begging for some financial support. You can also do, an email to all the people that you normally send a Christmas card to.
Right.
They're more likely to help you out. So yeah, that's been a challenging part, but I think it's a good experience to go through. It's definitely a good experience to have. It might serve you well in the future if you work for anything else that you need to raise funds for. So I've tried to look at it that way, in a positive way.
And that's a segue to the other part of question 2, which is, in doing the canvassing and pressing the flesh and listening to what your Ward 2 people have to say. Have you learned anything along the campaign trail that really stuck out as a concern people had?
Nothing new per se, but it has confirmed my sense of how diverse Ward 2 is, and that's reflected in the comments that I get from people when I talk to them. Ward 2 includes all of the west side. The issues there are completely different from the ones that are a priority for, say, Grand Creek, and different from west of Reserve Street, and different from the newly annexed area. So when I go and talk to people in all those different neighborhoods, I get that sense that it's what's important to them is different within the ward.
Yes, it is an unusual ward, isn't it?
It is unusual, and it's huge geographically too. So my canvassing is it takes a lot longer to get from one part of town to the other, and I gotta go across Reserve Street, and
it has lots of the big box stores, the retail. It has a west side, which is like middle class, high density suburban living. And then you have the statelets of the Grant Creek, where there are much larger homes and a great. That's a tough ward you have.
It is, and in terms of the socioeconomics, that's different too, and the issues. I mean, Grant Creek, the concerns are related to potential wildfires, for example, being prepared for that. Trail connections, to some degree property taxes, but I think everyone understands what you get for what you pay. The west side, being in proximity to the Poverello Center, that's a concern, some of the interactions there, and incredibly kind-hearted people, but they are seeing some of those struggles in a way. And then the area west of Reserve Street, that is what I've been calling, that's future Missoula. It's where a lot of the new development is going. So the struggle there is, how do we accommodate more housing while providing a safe transportation network for everyone?
Right. Question 3. What is the biggest challenge you would like to help Missoulians overcome?
I think that growth in our community is putting a lot of pressure on the amount of housing that we have. Affordable housing is one of the things that I would like to continue to work on. Transportation and growth. I think all those 3 things are interrelated, and so it's hard to say which one drives the other, but we need to be thinking about them as holistically.
And 4, this is supposed to be the upbeat one. What are some of the great opportunities City Council could help Missoulians realize?
Well, I think, based on what I just said, I think that we have a great opportunity in front of us when it comes to what we want to look like 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So decisions that we make today are definitely going to impact, and those can be positive impacts to the community, creating more opportunities for all Missoulians. I was just reading something not that long ago that made me think, that resonates with me, is that we need to be honor the past, and we need to be responsible to the present, and we need to be planning ahead for the future. So all combined, creating balance between all those 3 different aspects of life, I think it's where we are right now, as a growing community, as a growing city. Important that we retain that character, which is basically what everyone who moves to Missoula moves here for, right? Where we've been discovered, as they've been saying, but we need to keep that unique character and leave a beautiful place for the next generation of Missoulians.
And you get closing remarks of your choice.
Closing remarks. I have been thinking more and more about what this means to me, and I think it's that we need to think about what we want to be when we grow up as a community, and hopefully that we all do it together. I think it's important that community residents, stakeholders, and city officials work together so that we can create a vision for Missoula that's going to provide housing, employment opportunities for not only those of us who are lucky to be here today, but for our children and the new residents of Missoula.
Excellent, Mirtha. Thank you so much for
You're
taking
welcome.
the time. And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to learn a little bit about the 2019 City Council election. Once again, I want to remind you that mail-in ballots are going out on the 16th of October. If you don't see a ballot in your mailbox, please get a hold of the Election Council and make sure you're registered and make sure they've got the right address where that mail-in ballot would go. The number for Missoula County Elections Office, they're handling the City Council election, is 531-4026. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.